That's Mario.
Why are you singing the Pokemon theme?
That's Mario, not Pokemon. Also, both of our hair is special. Like, you have a thing. Oh no, that's upstairs. That's a dice bag. We're live! Hello? Oh, that makes me... So, we already have chatters in the chat. This is great. Y'all are anticipating our streams.
Chatter.
Jaime is saying that both of the games for tonight actually went to the top of their wish list after reading the rules, which makes me so happy. Both of these games, I need to tweet that we're live. Both the games that we're playing tonight, Solenia and City of Rome, I had looked at before Essen, and City of Rome, I was curious about what I wanted to play it, because there were quite a number of games this year that were coming out at Essen that were like very card driven. So they had either hand management hand management mechanics, or like a tile placement or something like that. And City of Rome and Underwater Cities both were very heavily card driven, and thus a lot of the gameplay and like how it goes would depend on the cards. And so it's very hard for me to gauge what a game is going to be like unless I actually can see the card distribution and see all the card abilities, which the rulebooks often don't have. So Underwater Cities and Great City of Rome were kind of like, I need to look into and play before I do anything. So I didn't put them on any of my anticipated lists, but I did put them on a list to like go and check out privately or buy them and stream them. And we actually played City of Rome at Essen, and we both really liked it. It was probably like one of the most awkward game experiences that we had at Essen, because we play with, when we go to Essen, we spend a lot of time in the German hall, the large German and French publisher hall. And so a lot of the people that are playing are usually German or French or something like that. And so we're very used to playing with people who don't necessarily speak English, and it's fine. But we ended up playing with two people that were Italian, and the one didn't really speak English very well, but like they were very like, they didn't want to talk really. And when they did talk, it was kind of like, it was very short with us. And then they did this weird thing where like we're sitting down for a 4-player game to play with them, and they sat diagonally adjacent to each other. And it was a couple. And so like they sat down first because they had been there before us waiting. And so customarily you let the people who had been there before you sit down. And he sat like here and she sat diagonally there. And so Steve and I are like, oh, okay. So I sat next to the gentleman, and then Steve went and sat over there, and it was just like kind of weird.
I wonder if they did that because they knew that turn order rotated, and they wanted to make sure that if we were going to throw the game, we didn't have two of us sitting next to each other.
I don't think so. Anyway, the whole game was really weird, but we liked the game City of Rome enough that we actually spent the last of our euros on it. So anyway, that's the second game we're going to stream tonight.
That's the last of our euros technically on the bunny expansion for Zularetto.
Well, no, that was the last euro.
Oh, that was yeah, we had like €1 left over after getting City of Rome, and we spent it on bunnies.
For Zularetto, yeah. Anyway, so that's City of Rome, and that's the game we're going to play later this evening after we play our first game, which is Solenia, which is coming from Pearl Games, which is one of the many under the Asmodee branch. It's designed by Sebastian Dujardin. Okay. And it is a 2 to 4 player, actually it's a 1 to 4 player, there is a solo mode, game where the story is that you're on a planet where there's the sun, or the planet doesn't rotate anymore, and so there's no day and night cycle on the planet. There's just one hemisphere of the planet is always in daylight, and then another hemisphere is always in night. There's no sunlight. And so you and your opponents are merchants, and you're traveling around the globe with this, like, mother airship, basically, and you're kind of, like, going in and out from this airship. The airship's like the mothership, basically. And you're going to the various cities and locations around the world, this planet, and picking up resources and then delivering them various places to complete contracts to gain points. And the winner is the person who has the most points at the end of the game. But it does some really interesting world manipulation in the game, and everyone has their own deck of cards, and we'll get into that. I want to say why we got this one. So this one, I originally read the rules, and it just seemed so simple. I mean, it's very beautiful, and it looked very, very simple, and I was just kind of like, I wasn't super keen on it, and it was kind of like, I wonder if this is just a gimmick. But we waited in line for the very first morning of Essen. I got in line at one of the Asmodee shops. There's several Asmodee shops around the show, and I was maybe the 10th person in line at one of the shops. And Steve came and joined me, and
because I was waiting at the other shop, and
yeah,
they wouldn't even let you line up because they were still getting ready because it was first day and everything. So.
Yeah. So we get into the shop. They open the doors. We get into the shop, and we go to the back. And the way the Asmodee shops work, you can see these in the vlog, the Day 1 Essen vlog. This is where this starts. Most of the shop is in German. So most all the games in the shop are in German, but there's one like back corner section that is the international corner, and that's where all the like English edition or French edition or whatever edition games are. And I wanted the river. I wanted the river super bad. That's why we're in this line. So we beeline it, and there's like this huge like column of the river that they've made, and no one's giving any hoots about the river. And I'm like, the river! And while we're standing there, like, to get to the pile of the river, we had to go where this game was. And this game, they had on a shelf. And the shelf was only big enough to have 4 of them at a time. And so we would watch them, and people would come and grab all 4 at once and walk away. And then a guy would come from the back and put 4 out. And eventually the guy just stood in the doorway to the back, just handing copies to people. And people would stand there and get 2 and 3 at a time and walk away. And then we ran into our friend Adam, who, this was the game that he like rushed for in the morning. And he had 2 copies and was like, yeah! And he was going to the cash register. And I was like, okay, well, we have to get one. Because normally I don't buy into this hype. And I was like, well, I got the rules. It's really pretty, but it seemed really simple. And Adam, who was like across the store, yells at me and he's like, no, it's really good. I saw a guy crying when he got his. And I was like, okay. So we got one and we checked out. And it wasn't until we were home and we were looking at all the receipts. They actually charged us twice. So we paid for 2 of these. So we were like, well, this better be good.
The second invisible copy will be a giveaway, and there's free shipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, rules are online.
So anyway, that's how we ended up with one of these copies.
Hero Logic says it's by the designer of Troyes
Auto Try and Twa and Deus. So I think that's why people were super excited for it, and that's why I initially read the like rules for it, was because a lot of people are into Twa, and so yeah, it's like a more lightweight game from that designer, and that designer is usually pretty good. So we picked it up. I ended up playing it not too long ago, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good, and so now we're gonna play it. Story time done. Yeah. So it's one of those things where normally we don't. In conventions in the past and Essens in the past, I used to be really bad about just like being like, oh, this is really popular. Oh, this is going to sell out. I'm just going to buy it. And then we would come home and we'd have all these games that we don't like, that are either hard to sell or like we don't like or like all this other stuff.
Or we're just not interested in playing it because we don't know anything about it because we just got it from the hype. So.
Yeah, or then I would find something out about it and then I would be like, oh, I don't want to play this at all. So that's one of the reasons why I do such a large amount of research and rulebook reading now before we go to the show, is because I want to make sure I know about the games more. So, okay. Let's go into this. Hey, Serious Business, and Hero Logic, and we've got Black Anvil RC, and Jaime and John Edwards. Though I think, no, John is Hero Logic. That's it. I'm learning to map the Twitter names to the Twitch names. Alright, the Twitch names to the YouTube names. Alright. Cool. Raymond Chin. Alright. Here we go. Let's...
But there's no actual giveaway. Someone was wondering. I was kidding.
No, it's for the invisible copy.
Oh, well, it's for the invisible copy.
Yeah.
Yes, there's no actual... I mean, it's theater of the mind.
Do we have any mods? We don't have any mods in tonight on the YouTube chat. I don't think we have any mods in our Twitch chat either, unless, yeah. That's okay. Y'all police yourself. Alright, so let's get into the teach of Selena. We're gonna need a couple of our netter bowls, but it's just so pretty. Oh.
You are tweeting board games.
I'm tweeting board games?
You're streaming board games. Sorry, my phone just dinged.
Alright, cool. So, this one doesn't have it has a main board, but you assemble it out of these, pieces. So, let's first get the airships. So, each player is gonna get an airship, and the airships are pretty cool. And we're gonna play on this. The airships are all double-sided. There's a summer side and a winter side. We're gonna play with the summer side. I want the one with the golden sails. They all look like fish. Which one do you want?
Oh, it's hard to say.
It literally doesn't matter at all. It's just for aesthetic.
It is a pretty big strategic decision. I like the one that has sort of the, like, canvas.
Yeah, I thought you would. Also, this game is, like, one of the easier games, but it's really pretty, and they actually, like, attempted with an insert. And look, there's little dividers to hold the resources, even. We don't use them to hold the bits in, though, because they would fly everywhere, because there's no real board to, like, seal them in. But they tried. So that's nice. Okay, cool. So, there's one of these tiles has a day and a night. You'll see it's, like, half and half. That's going to be the center one for the world that we're building. Then, there are 4 other tiles, and you're going to randomize them for the night and day cycle. So I'm just gonna like shuffle them best I can. And then we're gonna do 2 of them night side and 2 of them day side. Lining up with the center tile.
I am a pretty big fan of puzzles.
Did I do this right? I did this wrong.
I'm a pretty big fan of puzzles.
Every time I do this
I feel
wrong.
like when they make the piece count on a puzzle like 5 pieces, it becomes a little easy. But...
So you actually want to make it for the start of the game. You want to make it where the light side tiles are like the greater than sign. No, this is the less than sign. So I messed it up. You want to make it where the light is the pointy side and the day... No, I've messed this up again.
No,
wait, I was right. No, I was wrong. I'm just doing the same thing. Okay, you want to make the night pointy. Here we go. Okay, you want to make the night pointy. I got it. You want to make the night pointy and the day not pointy. Okay.
I'm still not quite sure what you mean by pointy or not.
So pointy, not pointy.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, there, I did it. So difficult. Okay. Then there you don't need there's a little die, you don't need the die. You need the big old airship. It's a big airship. You're gonna put the airship on the center spot on the tile that is half day, half night. And then you're gonna need some netter bit bowls for the stars, and then the resources.
Oh, lost the stars.
Then there are advancement tiles, and like modifier solo tiles that you just aren't gonna need. So these are like the smaller ones. These are for the advanced game, the improvement game, and the solo game. If you don't need those at all, you can put those to the side. You do, however, need the tiles that are shaped like air balloons. These are the contracts. There's one for night and one for day. You're gonna make a, basically, market of those. So if you could shuffle that. So make sure that they're all face up or face down. You're gonna have fun with that now.
I'm shuffling.
Mm-hmm. Aren't you glad the mic is no longer on the table? The mic boom arrived and is now mounted to a boom with a shock absorber. And I had to get sandbags because the mic's really heavy. So
wait, does that mean we can nickname it the Sonic Boom?
We could. I also am gonna... This is gonna turn into a strip show because I'm taking this hoodie off. You turn these studio lights on.
It's only when you lose a game.
Our bowls are the Nutter Plays Bit Bowls. They're Nutter Bowls. If you're watching on YouTube, if you scroll down, there's a link in the doobly-doo to her Etsy shop. She sells out of them quickly because she hand makes them.
Oh, Jaime says the ship actually goes the other direction than the rules.
You got it. I flipped it again. Correct, yeah, the ship goes towards the day.
Towards the light.
It goes towards the... It doesn't go towards the pointy side. It goes towards the...
And I think that did matter, side. I remember, for...
it does matter, yes.
Yeah, movement and stuff.
Which is why it's important to get the pointy versus the not pointy.
But yeah, Hero Logic, we did get charged for 2 of these, but...
That's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It was first day at SN. They were for us.
Yeah. If you are a Twitch Prime, I don't know. If you're not a Twitch Prime user and we're not a subscriber, you do get ads. Okay. Then there is a deck of cards, but this is actually 4 deck of cards. So you're going to give each player a deck of cards that matches their player color, and there's holes in them. There's holes in them, their cards. So you're going to put the deck of cards on your finger, and you're going to spin it. No, I'm kidding. But that is a way to fidget with these during the game. So each player is going to get a deck of cards. There's 16 cards in each deck. So...
Where do the blue unicorns go?
They go up here. So each player is going to get their deck, and then you're going to shuffle them, which, surprisingly, a little tricky to do with the holes in the middle. Turns out, they need the structural integrity that they get from being, like, not holy. I don't know. It's weird. Then, each player's going to put their airship someplace.
We're kind of like that, too.
I mean, but you don't shuffle us.
That's...
Just gonna put that one out there.
That's true.
Alright, now that the air balloon ships are done, for a 3-player game, you're gonna take 3 of them and put them face up. And for a 4-player, or for a 2-player or a 3-player game, you're gonna put 3 face up. For a 4-player game, you're gonna put 4 face up. And these are basically like the contracts that are available at either the light or dark cities.
Also, hopefully the audio is right side up. Actually, does it record in stereo?
It can. But how does the audio sound?
I think we have it set to mono. Anyway, if we were recording in stereo, it might be upside down. Didn't know audio could be upside down, but there it is.
It can be in stereo, but you can, I think, flip it. I don't know. Because it does left-right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
But I don't think we're recording in stereo.
Look, are you guys ready? Look what I can do.
I mean,
and nobody's losing their mind.
I mean, I still see it on the little equalizer thing.
But it's not the same. Like, if I bump the table... Look, if I bump the table, you all aren't losing your hearing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Watch, we're gonna go back and watch the stream on YouTube. There's just these huge thudding noises. No, it's probably much better. Hopefully.
Yeah. They're all muted right now. They can't. Oh, Jaime doesn't notice problems. It used to have a problem, which is great that you don't notice it anymore. Alright, this is the best I can shuffle these holy cards. Each player is going to draw a hand of 3 cards. You're always going to have a hand of 3 cards until the end of the game, in which point, because we're going to play through the entire deck, so for the last 2 turns of the game, you're going to have less than 3 cards in your hand, because, yeah.
The holy hand of cards, isn't that nice?
The holy hand of cards! The holy hand of cards, yes. I want to zoom in a little. We got some good space. Let's take advantage of it.
Still on the planet?
I mean, we're still in space technically.
That's true.
Cool.
That's true. We're all in space, technically.
Oh, you know what's the best part?
Hmm.
You're gonna go first today because this game's
starter player
condition. Whoever has their head most in the clouds. So Steve goes first this time. I'm actually gonna put these up here. A little further from Steve.
But that's my personal supply to go with my personal deck of cards.
Mm-hmm. Alright. I'm gonna move these a little so everything's in frame. Alright, cool. Let's start teaching. Stream's already 20 minutes on because we've been telling stories. Alright, so this game is super straightforward. Like I said, the theme of the game is that the planet has lost its day and night cycle, and so basically what's happening is we're merchants, and we're going from one hemisphere of the planet to the other hemisphere of the planet, and we're kind of like branching out from the mothership, basically. Like, our ships can only go so far, and so we can only go so far from the mothership. But we're going to the various locations on the board, the map, to either collect resources and hold them in our airships, and then we're going to different cities on the map to deliver goods to complete these contracts that the cities want. So, there, now you have a little bit more room for your airship. So on your turn, you're going to play one of the 3 cards that you have available, and the hole in the card is going to line up perfectly when you place it to tell you what you get that turn, which is pretty sweet. So there are 2 different types of tile. There are resource tiles, and then there are city tiles. So the resource tile is when you place a tile, or when you place a card on a resource tile, it's going to give you the quantity of that resource that is on the card. So you must always place your card either adjacent to the airship or under the airship. You cannot place your card where a card has already been placed. So I could place my card right here. This is adjacent to the airship. And the card says that I get 2 water, because there's a 2 on it. And the great thing about the hole is when you place it, it lines up perfectly to really, like, pop what the resource is. Because the art is so detailed, it can kind of be tricky to, like, lose the resource on it. But yeah. So I would gain 2 water. And I'm going to put that water in my airship. And my airship only has 8 storage. So if at any point I gain more resources than I have that I can store in my airship, I can rearrange. So I can discard whatever I want, so I can take what I want in from the supply. So that's it. That's my turn. Then I would draw a card, and then it would be Steve's turn. If instead of placing on a resource location, actually I want these back for teaching purposes. Here, I'll take these. Let's say the game has progressed for some time, and I have some resources in my ship. Yes, my ship. And now it's my turn again. When you place a card on a city location, let me back up a second. In addition to placing a card adjacent to the main airship, you can always place a card adjacent to one of your cards. So I can now place my card here next to this card that I've already placed. So even though this slot isn't adjacent to the airship, it's legal because it's adjacent to a card I've already played. So I place it here, and it lines up so I get 1 star, which is a victory point at the end of the game. So I get a star. I can only go to one of these city locations that give me stars if I can complete one of the contracts that are here. Each city type has a contract associated with it. So the day cities, you can only get day contracts, and then the night cities, you can only get night contracts. Because I went to a day city, I must complete a day contract. I have to do it. If I don't have the resources to complete a contract at a day city, I cannot go here. But for teaching purposes, I've stolen enough resources that I can, of course, take this contract. So I complete this contract, which is asking for a wood and a stone, and I slot it into my airship at the start. So you're going to slot in always on the left and then work your way right. When I slot in the airship, I'll get a bonus. The bonus is depicted directly under the slot, or above the slot if you're slotting in day tokens. So for this one, I get a wood, and I put it in my storage. Woohoo! I'll gain the points for completing this contract at the end of the game. Then I simply draw a card, or draw a new contract tile to replace the one I did. And that would be that turn. If I were to have, instead of playing a 1 card, played a 0 card, or if on a future turn, I play a 0 card, so let's say I play a 0 card here, I don't gain any of the resources depicted, because I gain 0 of them. Instead, I move the airship forward 1 spot. The airships always stay in the center of the board, they're just going to keep advancing forward. When the airship moves, you're actually going to adjust the world around the ship. So you're going to take the tile at the back, the pointy tile, you're going to flip it so it's now the other side, and then you're going to slot it in like that. So the airship is always centered in the board, both laterally and the other direction. Laterally and...
longitudinally?
No. I guess horizontally and vertically, we could say. Which is one of the cool things of this game, is stuff's going to fall off. And now you'll see there's actually more day cycles. So as we keep moving the airship forward, we're actually going to have periods of time where there's very little night or there's very little day available for completing day or night contracts. Which is important because certain day or night contracts have different needs or desires. So typically, day contracts want more water, whereas night contracts want more grain. Because they can't grow grain because they don't have sun, right? Whereas the day ones have sun so the water evaporates, I think is the idea they're going with. So yeah. If, let's say the game has progressed, let's say, for some reason, this is entirely not accurate, but if I could not play this card because there's no legal move for me to play adjacent, or if I just don't want to play adjacent to one of my cards, I could travel a little further out. So I could pay, that's the word, one resource for every space that I skip to place a card. So I could place this card way over here, paying one resource because the nearest card is there. So I would just discard the resource, and then I would get it to say that I played that card and do the stuff like that.
Is it from your nearest card? Can it be from the ship, too?
Yeah, it can be from the ship. Yeah, it can be from whatever you want. So that's one way to get like a little further out. Maybe you don't have enough resources. Maybe all the spots adjacent to the ship are completely blocked. If you cannot place a card for any reason, and you must place a card, so if you just can't, you don't have resources to place out or something like that, instead you will discard that card, so it's out of the game, you don't play it, and you must advance the airship. So if you discard a card because you cannot play it, you advance the airship.
Well, that's like kind of edge case.
A little bit. When you advance the airship, you still do, because you had to discard, you still do the bump. Which brings me to the other thing we teach. When cards are on one of the tiles that's going to move off the world and flip, they actually get a bonus activation. So, this card gets discarded, so it's out of the game, but I will gain the bonus depicted at the bottom of the card, which in this case is I will gain 2 water. So I gain 2 of whatever is on this tile. So I would take this, I get my 2 water, I have 2 water, and then I flip it, and then we do that. So now you can see it's mostly day. But the night will come again when this tile flips, once somebody advances the airship one more time. Yeah. So that's it. We're going to play the game. There's some cards that are a little bit more complicated. So for example, this card, when it falls off the world, you only will gain whatever victory point or resource is depicted on it if you played it on the type of tile depicted. So this card wants me to play it on a water tile so that if I had played it on a water tile, when it falls off the world, I would get a point. So, that is...
Also, I just wanted to point out, I guess it's a little blurry for focal reasons, but the sculpt on the airship is 15.
Yeah, it's a very light, mass-produced sculpt. I've looked at painting it, but I don't know how much detail I could get out of it without doing some blending tricks or ombre, which is fun and easy to practice on, so I might still do it. But it's a cool airship, don't get me wrong. But for painting purposes, I would want to add a lot more detail than is what's depicted.
Yeah, the details are very shallow.
Yeah.
So that the paint would potentially wash it out.
Alright. At the end of the game, you're going to gain bonus points for having pairs of contracts. So when you gain night contracts, you slot them on like this. At the end of the game, if you have a pair of night and day contracts, you'll gain a certain number of points depending on how far you get. So if I have only 1 pair, I get 1 point. If I have 2 pairs, I get 3 points, then 6 points, then 10 points. If I get any additional pairs above 4 pairs, I don't get any additional bonuses. But each time you slot a contract into one of these spots, you'll actually get 5 victory points anyway. So it's alright.
if your logic has the idea to take a scythe airship.
A scythe airship would be more detailed, yes. Yeah. I'm gonna rotate.
Also, chat's talking about Nemo's War. Thanks for the reminder, chat, that the Nemo's War expansion came out back in July. I filled out my survey thing where I just needed to say, yes, this is still my address. I just had to click yes, and it's on the way. So I will be getting the Nemo's War mini expansion. Not the bag and stuff, just the new cards. I'm excited about that.
Hey, Daryl. Alright. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's
the end of the game, you get points for your airships that you have down, and then you get points for the pair bonuses, and then whoever has the most points win. Yeah. And there's no tiebreaker.
Also, my hands are super cool. Because the cards all have your hands on the controls. I'm just pointing out that they're cooler than Tiffany's hands.
They're blurry. You can't even see your hands.
It's because they're moving on the controls so fast.
Are you wearing gloves?
Yeah, I'm wearing super cool gloves.
Oh wow, he's got leather. He's got leather fingerless gloves.
Yep, leather fingerless gloves.
Is what you couldn't see in that blurry.
How many cards?
3.
4. Got it.
All right, Mr. Kairos, you get to go first because you have your head in the clouds. I'm gonna take a picture and tweet that we are playing this because I did not.
Well, I
had to work today, so I did not tweet as much.
I'm gonna move the airship forward.
Already?
Yeah.
Okay. It's your funeral. I mean.
If it was my funeral, it's on an airship on another planet.
I mean, maybe it's this planet. If we stopped spinning on a... If our orbit changed, so we were still spinning on our axis, but our orbit had changed?
No, it's the other way around. If we stopped spinning on our axis, we would stop getting night and day.
But it wouldn't be hemispherical. Because in this game, it's hemispherical.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, I guess our axial tilt would have to go crazy and we'd have to stop. Oh no, I guess we could, yeah, if our axial tilt went crazy and we were still revolving, that could happen. Alright. Is my turn just playing the one card?
Yes, because you get 0 water. You literally get nothing for doing that.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed it.
I have a strategy.
Mm-hmm. Steve has never played this game.
No, I redraw it.
You do. You draw up to 3. Steve was getting dinner when I played this game.
Very delicious. Also, I think I remember there was an old XKCD explainer about what happened if the Earth just stopped spinning.
I think we would all puke, wouldn't it? Wasn't that one of them?
Well, I think it was that one, but it was also the air would continue to spin, and I think the friction between the air and the planet, because the air was still moving.
Oh yeah, the planet would catch on fire, I think was one of the theories.
It was either the one that it would catch on fire, or it was that it would just be this giant windstorm. Yeah. Don't stop revolving.
Specifically the planet. We're not talking about you, in general.
Lines of credit, etc.
Oh man. Alright, I'm gonna do that one to get a single water now. And I don't advance the airship.
Oh, I'm single water.
Oh, I'm single water.
Everybody needing water, put your hands.
It's your turn. Oh yeah, water. Hydrate.
What does the bonus at the bottom mean?
That one, if you put that on a city, when the card falls off the map, you'll get a point.
Okay, so that's like conditional.
You're extra snifty tonight.
I'm super, and I am cult. And then I discard extra cards. No, I discard resources to go.
You have to have 8 resources. Oh, to go further out. Yeah. Yes. You don't have any resources to discard.
Nope.
I sit and fidget spin. Who needs fidget spins when you have cards with holes in them?
And get 2 stones and put them on the coolest airship.
You're a cool airship.
It's just
I'm going to place These are all not options for what I want in life.
Logical says Leviathans had great airships. Didn't I pick it up in a vlog? I remember there was a game called Leviathans that was like battleship airships.
Potentially.
Flying in space. And you caught a lot of your eye rolls on camera. It was probably 2 years ago.
I don't know what you've done.
I remember the name Leviathan.
I'm gonna go there and get a single wood, and then it is your turn.
I mean, you say it's my turn.
But it is your turn.
Is it?
No, it is. See, this is what you do. You pinch them between your fingers, and you just sit and spin on your turn.
No, I'll do this.
It's the best.
Yet another stone.
Yet another
stone.
You're really good at that voice, baby. Like, seriously. Not being a smart butt. You are good at that creepy voice. So this would go under that. So I don't get anything, but the airship moves forward once. So you get a stone and 2 water.
Yep.
And these cards get discarded.
It's almost like I was trying to prevent you from getting water by forcing the airship to move before you could collect it. Please go to this one.
Yeah, just make a discard for yourself. The NASA shirts would have been appropriate for tonight's game. This is true. Instead, I'm in my Element shirt, which I bought after we bought the Element, because...
And I'm wearing the spaceship shirt.
That's appropriate! Oh, have you all seen this shirt? I love this shirt. Here, we're gonna make the camera big. Just take it off, baby. Just like, brown chicken, wow, wow. Oh yeah. Okay, so it's a timeline of when these ships are, like, exist. So this up here says, Infinity BC, and then a long, long time ago, and then, what is that? 148,000 BC. And this is 1967, and then 1981, and then 2001, and then 2265, and then Infinity AD. And the Infinity ones are the TARDIS.
As well they should be.
Yeah. Steve doesn't know do you know all these ships now?
Yeah. I can't remember if I only ever saw the Battlestar pilot. I don't know, I've seen so little of Battlestar.
Yeah.
And then that's 2001, which you've seen. That's our favorite, the Millennium Falcon.
No, I'm gonna hit you. Anyway. Sorry. Alright.
Is it now my turn? After that debacle?
Yeah, because I moved the world. Or I moved the airship. The Leaving Earth expansion stations. Oh man. So I want to put a station around Saturn. It's like my life goal at this point. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take a long game to do it, but that's my goal, is to put a station around Saturn.
Let's just go here. We'll get one hay. Just make,
interesting.
Make hay about the thing.
Kabuki Kid is saying, someone once told me that the moving a board like this in Thunder Road was copyrighted, and that's why Thunder Road hasn't had a remake.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. I don't know. You would think Asmodee would look into that. Though this is pro.
It's also, I mean, copyrighting game mechanisms is fiddly, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know the legal history of it, but I know sometimes. Yeah. I guess patenting. It's copyrighted when you actually copy.
I'm gonna go. It would be patented, yeah.
Yeah, Leaving Earth. I'm waiting. There were some balance tweaks that were done to the space shuttle, and the developer has said once they get through a certain backlog, they're gonna do an upgrade kit, as well as releasing a new printing of it.
I wonder if they have already done the upgrade kit. We're so bad about keeping up.
Well, I check every couple months. They've been really slammed because they got a laser cut stuff, and so production is all about time on the laser cutter, so it's easy to get behind.
I would say we would add Leaving Earth to our our Gamesgiving stream, but
it would be the whole stream.
That would be the whole stream. It would just be Tiffany trying to stubbornly put a station around orbit and Saturn.
I see nothing wrong with this.
The problem is there, can they grow food? Can the stations grow their own food? Because the food would run out.
Yes.
Okay.
They can.
I can do this. Oh, yeah. I like the idea of calling it Gamesgiving and then just giving away that massive pile of giveaways. Get them out of my house. Get them out of my house. Hi. How are you doing? You doing good, sir? You just having a great time?
I need to go behind the microphone.
Having a great time?
Go behind the microphone.
I need the sun to or the ship to advance. Could you get on that? That would be great.
Rise of Augustus is over in the giveaway show.
That's because we have 2 copies.
Oh.
Remember when we bought a bunch of copies of games we love at a garage sale because we were like, these games are amazing. What do you mean you're getting rid of them? I feel like we'd have to play the games that we're giving away during the Gamesgiving. Oh no. We shall have to play the games we are giving away in the Gamesgiving.
You want this game.
Watch us play it. Watch us love it.
Does that mean you'll play Blackreach with me?
I already played Blackreach with you.
Yeah, but we have to give it away.
We ended up with 2 of those. I don't...
But we don't want 2 of them.
Can I give away both of them? If I play one with you.
We're negotiating here.
I want a thing. Oh, it's under the airship. It's under the airship.
Oh, it's under the airship.
Would you know?
Yeah, we ended. Double Pig Games accidentally sent us a second copy of Warhammer Assault on Blackreach, due to a shipping error, I guess. But they sent it like 6 months after they sent the first one.
That was weird. So we have 2
Yeah,
of the...
I emailed them back and they're like, give it to a friend. So
why don't I give it to a friend? Oh, because none of them have the time, energy, or other resources to play.
Does this have to be on a... Oh, that's a farm anyway.
It doesn't have to be.
I was saying if it was... No, it's a farm. Because of the peak buildings. Originally I thought it was a city, yeah.
It doesn't have to be, you just won't gain the fall off there.
No, but what I was going to say is if it was a city, does it have to be on the day or the night version? But
no,
it's not a city anyway, it was a farm.
If it is a city, it doesn't matter.
So I can place here, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh no!
I mean, but you could.
So how do I fulfill a city order again?
You go to a city.
And you said these can only be in line with the airship?
What? No.
They can be anywhere.
They can be anywhere. As long as it's a legal play. But the city that you play to is the type of contract you'll fulfill.
No, yeah, I know. So if I go here...
You're fulfilling a day contract.
Yeah.
Okay, so fulfill your day contract.
So it's going to be this one for 6. So 2 water, a stone, and a wood.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Ah! The water's getting everywhere.
Alright, and then the airship will move forward.
Why does the airship move? Oh,
you played a 0. So you're going to get a grain and a water. And then you're going to get a point because of that. And then I'm going to get a water and a wood.
Is there a way to get the airship to move forward if like all the spaces behind it are full, or you just have to play in front of it?
You just have to play in front of it. Alright. The night is coming. It's like my favorite part.
Yeah,
I really like
the middle-y spot.
I like how the night and day will go away, so like contracts will get more scarce or whatnot. So yeah.
Yeah, that is. I like me some
slick.
Pick up and deliver or contract completion games, and having one where it cycles between stuff you can and can't complete is super
cool.
Cool.
I'm gonna go here and get a single water. then it's your turn. The other thing is like, I might paint the airship. I don't know. Angela does such amazing Nerfenstein. She comes and hangs out in the chat. She does such amazing, like, board game component upgrade videos. I just, like, look at it and I'm like, she would know what to do with that. She would make it amazing. I want it to be, like, bulby like a balloon. Like, I want to, like, get some green sculpty and, like, sculpt it to look like it's, like, a big balloon, like, tied down with straps. That's how I picture it in my head. She just uploaded a Thanos Rising, because there's a Thanos Rising like co-op game, and it has a big old Thanos in it, and she painted it so it like actually looks good. It's amazing. She does a lot of toy mod videos.
I'm gonna discard a stone to go to here, and that will give me a wood.
Would you like?
Yes.
Some wood.
I would.
Wood. Alright, I'm gonna go here. So I'm gonna go to this day city. Which I don't get anything. However, I can complete this contract, which is for 3 water, and a stone, and a, wood. And I can slot that in, which gets me a wood. Did you get your wood when you slotted in your thing?
Yes.
Okay. And then the airship will move forward. So I'm gonna gain a grain and a stone. And then Steve's gonna gain 2 wood. Steve gains 2 wood. And that. And the night. We are moving into the night. That's even the better part. It's like, it's not the night is coming. It's like, we're moving into the night. Night's stagnant, yo.
The Knights of Stagnance.
This game goes so fast. The important thing to pay attention to is on the middle board, there's usually one of each type of city, so you have to pay attention to what type of city it is, because like half of it is in light and half is in night. So if you just look at the background behind the star, that'll tell you if it's day or night. Just one of the things we kept messing up in our first game. And by we, I mean me and my friends. Steve wasn't there. He was getting me dinner.
Yep.
And himself.
To do that,
you're gonna have to discard these things. Okay. Airship moves forward.
and I have to complete a contract.
Oh yes, you do have to do that first, technically.
So I will do a stone.
It's a day contract.
I'll do a stone and no, I'll do a wood.
Airship moves forward. I'm going to get a stone and a point. What even is the point?
And then I get a stone.
And
How do we
then
upgrade our airship to more slots?
that is in the advanced game. There's improvements that you can get.
Ooh.
I don't know if you get more slots, but cool. I want to move forward, but it's tough. It's tough to move forward in this world. I'm gonna go there, getting a single grain. And then it's Steve's turn. And again, we just play until we're out of cards, so we're actually gonna each get 16 turns. So there's 16 rounds. You should just keep playing turns. The number of turns is the same for all the player counts. The only difference in the player count is the number of contracts out. So for a 4-player game, there's 1 additional contract each. And then, in addition, in a 3-player and a 4-player game, there are, the people who go 3rd and 4th will get additional resources, like starting resources. And that's the only player count modification.
I'm gonna go here.
I don't know the rules for the solo game.
I'm gonna discard,
but there is a solo game.
Discard a stone. I'm gonna complete a contract. I'm gonna complete 2 grain, a wood, and a stone. For 6. And then I'm gonna get a wood and a stone, and then we will move things forward.
So in the solo game, I just skimmed it. You have a virtual player that you're playing against, and there's a die that is rolled to determine where the other player goes.
You get stuff.
I get stuff. Because you're moving it forward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I get 2 points. I'm gonna take a 3. Oh, that was a 10. That was the wrong tile to grab. And then I get grain.
Yeah, when you first described this, I was wondering if it was going to be gimmicky, and I'm really digging it so far.
I thought it would be gimmicky, but it's not. It's pretty interesting. You have to, like, really time getting certain resources as the world falls away. Like, we gotta, like, stock up on grain, because it's going away. And then we're gonna have, like, a surplus of water soon. Speaking of. Dang.
Oh, what did you say ends the game?
We're just gonna play all our cards. That's it.
Oh, what? How many times?
You have 16 cards. That's it.
What?
I've said this multiple times. I said it in the teaching. I, like, literally just said it.
Yeah, but...
You go through your deck once, and that's all you get, Kyra.
But when's phase 2?
There is no phase 2. This game is quick. This game is quick. I'm going here. So the airship's gonna move forward, and I go to a night city. I'm gonna do this one. So I'm gonna do 2 wood and a grain, and I actually get a stone for that contract. So much stone. I'm gonna put the stars on my ship. I'll put them there. And then nobody bumps off. The night is in full effect.
Oh, when do you get the reward?
Did I just draw this from my discard?
When do you get the reward at the bottom of your contract?
No. Didn't know. What?
When do you get the reward?
When you place it, when you slot it in. Did you get your stone?
No.
Okay, did you get your wood when I asked you if you got your wood?
No, I thought you were asking if I got it from the card that I placed.
Okay. So you get a green, a wood, and a stone.
Don't mind me.
Cheat and steer.
Well, this changes things.
So Hero Logic says this game will be out in January, it looks like. Which would make sense. This is from the French publisher, Pearl Games. So, it's Asmodee distributing it, but Asmodee has a lot of games they're, like, rolling out in different times. Asmodee is really focusing on the printing of their holiday line, which includes the river! It's coming soon! It's shipped! I'm so excited. Steve's realized the seriousness of pause. It's fine. You're still ahead of me. I'm wondering if I should spend more resources to, like, branch out. And now his AP has crippled him.
It was all fun and games until you told me we're only here on this earth for a limited time. We need to make the most of every day we have.
Come on, Kairos. Excuse me. I think we should stream every night, all the time.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we're already in the swing of it. It's forever.
Let's just stream, like, all day tomorrow.
Okay, so I'm gonna complete...
After work. What wouldn't work?
I'm gonna complete a contract. No, I pay stone and wood for stone and hay. I get 2 points, so I'll just take a 3. One back. And then I will get a hay or a whatever.
Just whatever. Just get a whatever.
And then you get a wood.
Yoo-hoo!
And then that discards, and then... Oh wait, is this mine?
Apparently,
oh hey,
yeah.
That's mine. What happens when we overflow?
You have to discard down. Wow, that fits perfectly into my hands. Beautiful. I will cry 1,000 tears. Just 1,000. Straight out. And I will go here. So I gain 2 water. Only one of which I can store. And discard this stone. It's your turn. Bye, Ray.
So, it's always free to be under the airship or any of these.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this. So I get 1 point. And then I have to fill this 2. Let's do the 2 wood contract. And then that gets me.
I'm like, how is he cheating? Like, he's got so many things. Okay. I'm gonna go. Ooh.
I've made a strategic error.
I'm gonna go here. So, I don't get anything, but I do a contract. And I'm gonna do this contract. So 2 wood, a water, and a grain. And I gain a water for doing that contract. And then this will advance, so I actually get a water and a stone. Or a wood, sorry. And then the world moves. The world actually doesn't move, the ship moves. It's very complicated. There's a system of pulleys and helium and stuff. Alright. You know, I was missing a certain type of card at the beginning of the game, and I have found them all now, and it makes it difficult.
Found it?
Yeah, found it. Your turn.
Let's just... Let's do that. Discard a stone, and then I will just do 2 hay.
Oh, hey.
Take that, and then I can get a water or a stone.
Oh, this should be fun. I'll go here. I'm gonna do a water and a wood to get this contract, so I can either get a water or a stone. I feel like I have enough stone, but that's gonna fall off, which will get me water. So I'm gonna get a stone.
That will get me water.
You don't get anything. Oh, it's you! Damn it. I'll get a water. So you get a water. But I don't get a water because this isn't Oprah. And then this ships. Oops.
I will go here.
Gotta pay a resource.
For which I will pay. Water. No. No. I will go here. For which I will pay there. No, so what I was asking for is this needs to be on a farm, and that's a night farm.
It works, yeah, it's fine. It's still fun.
Last 3 cards of the game!
What?
For me.
Oh, you started. But still. What? Tuesday. This isn't like, what game did I actually cheat? Gingerbread House. This isn't like Gingerbread House. There's only a certain number in the box. Unless there's still one in the box. You should have 16 cards in total.
I probably just took 2 turns in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
You only have 15 cards?
1, 2, 3, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yep.
Okay. This is like gingerbread. It's somewhere in there. Unless it's just not in here, in which case we get to file a replacement part request.
Is it only 15 cards?
It's 16.
I mean, maybe you should manage stuff together.
Yeah, 16 airship cards. 16 airship cards per player.
Maybe I dropped it during Shuffle Bonanza, or maybe two stuff together.
Oh, I don't know. You gotta figure it out, though. While you're figuring it out, I'll take my turn. I'm going to pay a water to do that. So I will... Card pack was opened in America.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They weren't in the baggie of... They weren't in here?
I didn't see them. Didn't see it. I also could just be really bad at counting. I'm not going to discount that.
These are all purple. Mine are all orange. I don't know, good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Okay.
I have 2 out on the board.
You're bad at counting.
I'm bad at counting.
So you played 2 turns in a row.
I did.
Cool. I get 2 turns in a row. Alright. I'm doing a contract. I'm doing a water, a green, and 2 stone. I was like, how is he has so many? It's because he's this moves forward. I will get 2 points, and you will get a point. Here's a point.
Oh yeah, Hero Logic. GMT, I don't know if you saw, they sent out an email today that says about 2,000 of their incoming and outgoing emails were just eaten by their email server. So they fixed the technical problem today, and so they've now got all the emails they were supposed to get, and they sent out the emails that were lost. So your email was probably...
Okay, I'm gonna go again, because Steve apparently was messing around.
Did you get me a point?
I did, yeah. Just the points. If you have... Oh. No, okay. I'm gonna go there to get 2 stone. That is my turn. Now we're on even ground. But we're in airships, so.
I'm gonna take a stone to go a little further and place this here, which should get me.
It's just the best part. Alright. Wow, Tiffany, why your card's so bright? Well.
You need to be sleeved to protect the inside.
Apparently.
Oh wait, did I need to pay to go there? Because I had that card there?
No.
No. That's
Did
fine.
you pay?
I did, but I'm out of room, so.
I'm gonna go here. So I gain a victory point. Mm-hmm. And I do a night contract, and I'm doing this night contract for gaining wood, which lets me get stone and a rock. And then it is your turn. Your penultimate turn. Yes. Oh wow, we finished way earlier than I thought we would. I did give us a lot of time last time.
Alright, I'm just gonna go here and move the airship.
Alright, so I will get a water.
2 points.
2 points. 2 points. I'm just gonna get a 5 token.
And then I'm gonna get...
return these 3.
I'm gonna get a point.
Yeah, have a point.
I'm gonna get a point.
And
a grain, and I actually don't want that grain. Don't want it.
I know, I gasped. It's okay. She came around the corner, like, what's happened? She's so concerned. She's, like, peeking out very adorably. You will get the D word, which is dinner, after this stream, my love. Almost there.
And we move it.
Me too. The great ocean that carries us through life. Great. It's not what I wanted at all, but I will go there. Ah!
Oh no!
2 wood.
I miscalculated.
Oh, I thought it was because I knocked the airship over. But it's your turn, sucker!
I thought if the thing went, I would get another night city.
What? No. No.
Because I wanted to complete a night city.
Has to go one more time.
Yeah, drink.
It's your turn. You get 2 points, though.
That's nothing to scoff at.
And you do a day contract.
Yeah. So we're going to do 2 wood and 2 water. Which is going to get me a wood and a hair.
Hey! Are they mostly singles?
They're mostly singles. All the single parts.
All the single parts!
Points.
Points, sorry. Alright.
All the single points, put your points up.
Alright. I'm gonna go there, which means I get 0 points, but I get to do a contract. And that's great, because you took the one I was gonna do.
I mean, you took the spot for the one that I wanted to do.
Oh, she need more night contracts.
That's
Alright, well, I can do that.
Because you took the last night contract.
So. So I get a green and a wood. It's okay. Every 2 resources you have at the end of the game is a point, which I forgot to mention.
Oh.
conveniently. And then I get 2 points because that card falls off, and Steve will get a water and a...
We are very close in terms of points.
And that is the game.
Because I have 8, you have 10, we both have 7 contracts down, and then our contracts have similar values. I think your contracts are worth more, so I think
Let's, instead of speculating, actually just count. Let's just count.
But speculating is fun.
Nope. Okay. Cool. So, you add up all your points on the contracts you've completed that are docked with your airship. If you've completed enough contracts, which neither of us did, to slot into these spots, you count those. You count any actual points you have, and then you get 2 points for every resource you have left. In addition, for pairs, you gain a certain number of points. So, I'm not actually going to get...
How was it, 2 resources per point?
No, yes. So, that's 10 points for those contracts. And then... I'm gonna get this. And then I will get, because of pairs, I'm actually getting like actual points. Are you not actually getting actual points?
Oh yeah, no, I'm not.
Okay.
All my points are in my head. That's an easier system to verify. Because it's easy for me to verify. It's all just in there. Oh yeah, I've totally got this.
Such a mess.
Totally got this in the bag.
I don't believe you. Alright, so I have 52 points.
Well done. I have 44 points. Because I have 10, 26, plus 8 is 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, plus 6 from my pairs is 44.
I think I did some higher value contracts.
You did do higher
Yeah,
value
you have a lot of 2 value contracts.
I was overflowing in resources, and so I was trying to complete cheap contracts to just get rid of the resources, and I was really just burning away the time. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Where...
What did you say again? 48?
44.
44. Alright, and there we go. And that is Selena. So final score is 52 to 44. Da-da-da. And this is really funny. When I add those little timestamp shortcuts down in the doobly-doo, I look for certain things that happen in the video. So the setup is when I change the camera. And the playing is when playing is a little harder to find. And then for the end game thoughts, I look for where I'm on my phone, because where I'm on my phone is where I'm logging our point totals. Anyway.
John was asking what difficulty to play Nemo's War at. When I played it, my first game, I played Exploration, and still, it was tough, and I still did not win. So, yeah, even if you take something that's a little on one of the easier ones, it's still going to be hard. So.
Anyway, related to this game, Selena.
So
it's fine.
I'm excited by expansion. It's coming.
I know. Everybody's excited about Nemo's War. Some people were talking about it on Twitter today. Yeah, so it's Selena. It's pretty light. I would say it's I mean, it's really simple. You play cards to slots. I love that I can like hit the table and it's not like a thing now. You play cards to slots. You gain resources, you will have a limited cargo capacity and your airship. You hold on to those resources to complete contracts. There's a little bit of player interaction in regards to where you take cards. The player interaction of like moving the airship is super interesting. I actually didn't get most of my 0 cards until the later half of the game, so I was fully dependent on Steve moving the airship for that first half of the game, and so a lot of what I took and was like basing my decision on taking was based on the fact that like I had no control over the day-night process, which was really interesting. I had to like compensate for that.
And something I didn't take into account was the fact that because Tiffany wasn't moving the airship early, it meant she was going to move it really fast once her cards came up.
Yeah.
So that is something to keep in mind. Also, the player interactions on competing for contracts, like other games that have it, is neat. So that's another avenue. Like, frequently, I know I was taking the contract Tiff wanted, and Tiff was taking the contract I wanted. And because you only have room for 8 resources, you need to sort of hedge and plan in a way that's interesting. Like, I really like the balancing of having to balance what resources I have versus what cards are in my hand versus what spots do I want to put down versus what cards do I want to put down to unlock other spots to make them cheaper versus what's going to fall off. Like, it is a little light, but everything is very interconnected in a way that is satisfying to me.
Yeah, it's interconnected in a way that you don't super anticipate until your first play. So there's that. So the backside is the winter side of the ships, and you have less storage capability, but there's like powered upgrades. So there's 2 slots that are like power 1 and then there's power 2, but you can put contracts wherever you want, but you need to like have at least a lower power when you contract them in. So like you can slot them in at different opportunity spots depending on what resources you need. So that's pretty interesting. And then there's improvement tiles that you can add to your airship in the advanced game that change the game even more. So yeah, it's
oh, and
interesting.
actually, you don't get the pair bonuses on the advanced side.
I like pickup and delivery games, and this is a pickup and delivery game. It's a card-driven pickup and delivery game that does a very interesting world movement mechanic. And the more important thing on the world movement mechanic is it basically simulates a demand and supply, because there are more grain resources on the day tiles, and then there are more water resources on the night tiles. And they want the opposite in the contracts more frequently, right? Which makes sense. So there's a simulated supply and demand just in regards to like the physical phase of the world, which I think is pretty interesting. Well, so you kind of have to time that. And
it's done in a way that's kind of, I don't say transparent to you as the gamer, but like there's no explicit rules for it. It just happens as a natural consequence of how the game works. Like I'm not looking up in a table.
Yeah.
What resources are more common or what the supply and demand are. Or I know Wasteland Express Delivery Service, very explicitly, you counted the number of locations that were out and moved a tracker, and that did the price. I mean, I know that's a different type of game, but
it's
like
a very different game.
I'm just saying, like that was doing supply and demand, but it was something that you explicitly had to think about in terms of rules. And this, it just sort of happens.
Well, and it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know if I would use the word elegant, but it's very simple. It's seamless. I would say seamless. The supply and demand ebb and flow is seamless, and it's one of those things that, unless someone points it out to you specifically when they're teaching the game, you will notice it and realize it halfway through your game when you're like, I have a crud ton of water. Oh, but the day cycle needs water. And like you'll realize that there's this ebb and flow with the night cycles and the resources that you need.
And then like when the first thing of the first city that you need pops up on the top of the board, it's like, sure, you can get there, but you're going to have to spend a lot of extra resources to get your card there to be able to complete the contract to race your opponent for it. One of the things that pops up to me is I'm like, now I really want to play this with more players.
So, and I've played this with 4 players, and with 4 players, the airship is moving constantly. So with 4 players, it comes into play a lot more that you are paying attention to basically what's falling off the map. When I was playing 4 players, it felt like cards were falling off every round. And one of the things that you could do was you could make sure that you were always in a position where you were basically chasing the airship. So you were always placing your cards in this back area because you would get the bonuses. But these spots became coveted because you get extra point bonuses or resource bonuses. And you can kind of like depend on people playing zeros frequently enough in a high player count game where like you're going to be doing that. The problem with that is you're very limited to what you have access to by what's coming up in this place, which other players have a lot more access to than you do because they're closer to the airship. So there's this balance between, okay, I want to make sure I have cards that are falling off the earth so I get continual bonuses, especially the ones that give me points, but at the same point, I want to make sure that I can, if I need to get a specific resource or go to a city, I have enough flexibility that I can do that. So it surprised me in the multiplayer game just how quickly the world kept changing. but it introduced a newer strategy. With the 2-player, I knew I could slow down, especially in the first half of the game when I didn't have any of the move airship cards, and so I was dependent on Steve for moving the airship. And so I didn't really care about if I was falling off the world or not. I knew that I could spread up and down, and then that way, later in the game, I would have these, like, things that I had set up here falling off to give me bonuses in the end, which is kind of like this delayed satisfaction thing, which was pretty neat as well.
Yeah, it's like as long as you place those things ahead of you, not towards the end of the game, those things will fall off. And it's only towards the end of the game that things you place won't fall off because there's enough time.
Yeah.
Super interesting. Yeah, I like the...
It's pretty interesting. And it's gorgeous.
I like the back and forth of the 2-player a lot, just because it was, you know, if I'm not moving it and you're not moving it, it's definitely not moving, but then there comes a point where one of us has to move it, and yeah.
Yeah. There was a game that we played this year. I'm gonna change camera. There was a game that we played this year at Essen, kind of Amara, which uses a system kind of like this where you have 9 cards and you have 3 in your hand at a time and you're going to play all 3 of those every round. And they have a 2-player variant that they recommend for advanced 2-player play, which is you have your entire like deck of cards in your hand at once and you can pick and play. And so I'm wondering if in the 2-player variant, if we play this enough, if we wanted to add like an advanced 2-player, if the winter advancement isn't enough, because that's the other thing. This already has an advance on the winter side of this with like literal improvements that you can do to your ship. So if we're like, that's not enough, sir, we can maybe increase our hand size to 6 or something like that for 2-player, so we do have a little bit more movability. But I feel like that would actually make it too easy as a pickup and delivery game. So, yeah, it's pretty good. Ohaimi says that they especially like that this includes some advanced variants. They think that the river could use something like that. So even though they've been looking for a simple worker placement game, that they would get this first. And that makes a lot of sense. I feel like, I just really like the river aesthetically. It reminds me of home, like literally. I grew up in Colorado, which has the purple mountain majesties in America the Beautiful. It's written about Pikes Peak, which is the mountain I grew up under. And so it's like gorgeous and there's a lot of pioneering history and all that kind of stuff. So the game aesthetically reminds me of growing up in like home, which is kind of weird. And then at the same time, like, I just really like worker placement games and I really like how simple that is. This game is more of a pickup and delivery game. It's not worker placement, it's pickup and delivery that's card driven, and I love pickup and delivery games as well. But this is like a nice, interesting twist, and I like how, like I said, the supply and demand flows with the night and day structure, in addition to like how the players interact and the card placement. So yeah, it does some interesting stuff that I haven't seen in a game. And it does it very smoothly and seamlessly. And so I think it's really easy to teach. I think it's one of those ones that would be very trivial to teach. Maybe not as trivial as the river. I think the river is like a little more simplistic. Just from like you don't necessarily need to understand game mechanics or theory. Whereas this one, it helps if you know a little bit more. But I think this would still be easily teached to family and friends, and they would have an aha moment that would either frustrate them to no ends, depending on when they had the aha moment, or they would feel very smart. So
yeah, and also in terms of the board and me worrying about it being gimmicky or not, one thing I like about games that do something interesting with components or game mechanic gimmicks is basically like if the game wouldn't have been possible without doing that, like, that's a good sign to me. Like, the modular board moving in the card slots means that the spots are randomized and that it does that shift between day and night. And it just wouldn't be the same game if it were on a static board. Like, so I'm not looking at it and going, well, this is a gimmick. They could have just done it with a static board and it would have been fine. It's like, this is an elegant way of doing something in the game that makes it, like, easier to teach. And the subtlety is sort of kind of under the surface rather than being something that has, like, heavy rules that you have to think about to, like, perform mechanically. Ramble. We should figure out what the element is.
I don't know what it is. There's 2. Kabuki Kid asked what the elements on my shirt are. No idea. I loved this part of chemistry. I could figure it out really well. And then, like, I was debating being a chemist or a historian, and I chose the historian route, and so I've forgotten most of this. But, yeah.
Twiggy says caffeine is C8H10.
This is not caffeine.
O2.
Yeah,
it's not. This one is
it's 2OH, NH2, and then there's another one which is OH, NH, NH2. So I have no idea. Hero Logic asks, were there turkeys in Colorado? Yes, there are wild turkeys in Colorado. Mm-hmm. Yep. Wild turkeys are a thing. Wild turkeys are a little bit more common than wild pigs, but they're not super common. It gets a little cold where I was, but yeah. Also, hello, Vinyl Rabbit. We're Vinyl Rabbit's favorite game streamers.
Oh, that's very sweet.
That is.
Also, the wild pigs and domestic pigs just make me think of the difference between Agricola and Caverna. Because weren't they, like, boars in Caverna? They, like, live in the forest?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the way to get pigs in Caverna is you have to get a wild boar. That's one of them, or there's, like, a room that you go to. You did miss it, Vinyl Rabbit. We literally just finished. And we just finished our final thoughts, which is we like it. But there's more final thoughts than we like it. Another question is, do I like this more than the river? Because I was raving about the river. I've raved about the river all week. No. I don't like this more than the river, but I don't like this more than the river because I like the river for a very specific niche in my collection and playstyle, which is I love worker placement games, and I have been looking for a worker placement game that I can use to teach people worker placement for so long. And before this moment, the best that I could do was like Agricola, All Creatures Big and Small, which is still kind of hard because there's like the animal breeding and it's tougher. So I'm just like so over the moon for the river because it is good and it's very simple, but it can still be cutthroat for gamers. This is a more simplified and light pickup and delivery game, which there already are quite a number of simplified ones. So this isn't filling a new niche that was missing in my thing, but it does some interesting stuff mechanically with the board and whatnot, and so it does make it interesting. And then I'm very curious about playing with the improvements and the winter board, and I think the next time Steve and I play, we will definitely be playing with the winter.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
Yeah, these slots are like, if you complete a contract, it gives you, always one infinite wheat or one infinite water, making up for the fact that you have less space. Like, all that is cool. I want to sink my teeth into that.
Yeah. So, on that delightful note, we're gonna put this bad boy away. And we're going to play the next game for tonight, which is
Great.
City
of
Rome. An awful way to say it. So we are playing in the European market. It's called City of Rome, and in the U.S. market, it will be called the Great City of Rome. And it's coming from Z-Man Games, but this is they're cards, but I call it tiles. It's a tile placement, tile drafting game where you're building a 4x4 city, and the way that the tiles are placed adjacently will matter. So yeah, this is a pretty simple and straightforward game, but the card interactions are really interesting, and it does a very interesting resource allocation method with a little spice of engine building, which I like so much. So this is the game that we're going to play next after we shut down the stream, update the thumbnails, put some food in us because we haven't eaten dinner yet, put some food in the dogs because we haven't fed the dogs yet, and then we'll be back and live with the Great City of Rome. So there we go. Heine says, the river needs a shipwright expansion that lets you get more completed powers and more complicated, I think that was the word. It's like 2 words in one. Powers and makes the ship useful. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Vinyl Rabbit says the element on your shirt is a balance equation.
Alright then.
I know so little chemistry, so I am now interested, and I will try to figure that out.
I don't know. Alright. It's more like a card drafting game with like some city building elements, and I love city building. So, yeah.
Yeah, the restriction, It's not so much restrictions on placement as ways to place the cards
more efficiently.
Efficiently, that will get you points. And it's just that you're limited to a 4x4 grid, so you have to make some hard choices.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that when we stream it.
Which will be in about 15 minutes. We're going to take a little bit of a longer break so we can eat dinner. So, if you would like to watch the great city of Rome, you can, if you're watching live, just hang out in the chat. Apparently talk about Nemo's War some more. Or figure out what my element is. My element, I should say. I think there's two.
HOOH-NH2 and HONH-NH2.
Mm-hmm. There you go. That's fine. I wear nerdy shirts, and I wear them proudly. It's actually a coping mechanism that I developed as a young girl, because I got boobs really young, and I was very weirded out by a bunch of people staring at my chest. So I started wearing nerdy shirts as a way to mentally compensate myself. I would just be like, oh, they're not staring at my chest, they're staring at my shirt. And it works now, because I now wear such nerdy shirts that people are more interested, and I also got a little heavier in the middle, so. Anyway, that's why I always wear nerdy shirts that are specifically just on my boobs. Fun facts here with Tiffany and Steve. Alright. Y'all talk about Nemo's War in the live chat. If you're watching in the future, thank you for watching this long, especially through that whole last embarrassing segment about my boobs. If you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell if you're on YouTube. You'll get notified sometimes. If I remember to hit a button and YouTube just, decides to notify you, because sometimes it doesn't.
It's like a multi-step process.
Yeah, it's weird. If you're watching on Twitch, you can go ahead and follow us to get notified when we go live. Or we're not a Twitch affiliate, so I think you can subscribe. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but you can get notified on Twitch as well. So there's that. Otherwise, we will talk to you later, and later being in 5 minutes, or no, sorry, 15 minutes if you're watching live. If you're not watching live, the Great City of Rome stream is already on the channel. Just go find it. It might even be like right there. No, it would be right there. It'd be right there. If I was smart enough and added that. So, there you go. You should get shirts with Sudoku puzzles on your chest. I have had some shirts that are like riddles. But then they stare too long, and then they get self-conscious about it. And people in public get weirded out that people are staring super intently at my shirt. So, yeah, there you go.
I'd just like to point out that the sandbag is working really well. The microphone boom has not, tilted and fallen into the table and knocked the camera over.
Oh my god. It's been a process. The 30 minutes before the stream was me trying to find the perfect balance between the sandbag and the mic. Because we have a Blue Yeti mic. And it's very heavy, and it's on a shock mount, which is also pretty heavy. And it has to be mounted to a boom or a microphone stand. So it's mounted to a boom, so it's kind of suspended over the table a little bit. But it's so heavy that, the boom arm wasn't long enough to do a lever, so I had to go get a sandbag, and then I had to fill the sandbag, and then I had to fill it the right amount, and then I had to, put it on the right place on the other side of the lever. It's a process.
So it's like your shirt. It's a balance equation.
Yeah, it's more of... I'm just impressed that it seems to be holding accurately.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Huh. They are professed style. Professional style.
Oh, they are
professed style.
They were the cheapest from... It's dopamine. Oh, you know what? I like dopamine. Everybody likes dopamine. Duh. Alright, we're out of here. I'm gonna take my dopamine and get some food. We'll see you in a bit. Night.